Welcome to this edition of FPD Roll Call. In this episode, I will be talking to the two newest members of the Florissant Police Department, and later on, I will be introducing one of our department chaplains to talk about the Florissant Police Chaplain Program. Later on in the show, I will be giving you the October crime statistics and some other useful information. But first, I want to introduce you to our newest officers here. We have Officer LeMaster and Officer Pham. Officer LeMaster started with the Florissant Police Department in October of 2015, and then Officer Pham started with us just in November of 2015.
Yep.
So we're going to start with you, Officer LeMaster. Tell us about yourself.
I'm 23 years old. I have a 6-month-old daughter who is my whole world, and I am a military police soldier in the Army National Guard.
Okay.
That's what really piqued my interest in becoming a police officer full-time in the first place. And I graduated from the Southeast Missouri State Police Academy this past summer, and this is my first police job.
Okay, all right. Officer Pham?
I'm 26, married. I have one son. His name's Caden, just turned 2. I spent 3 years active duty. Now I'm in the National Guard. I went to Eastern Missouri and then graduated in July?
Okay.
November.
November?
Yeah, November.
You probably wish you graduated.
Yeah, right,
in July,
right? Yeah, yep.
So, all right, and Officer LeMaster, what made you choose the Florissant Police Department?
I explored a lot of police departments when I decided where I was going to apply and who I was going to interview with, and the Florissant Police Department really stuck out to me as well collected, a good reputation. You don't see them in the news a lot, which is usually a good thing. That usually means they're doing something right. So
Right.
This department really stuck out to me as far as their leadership and their reputation went.
Great. Officer Pham?
One of our instructors was Officer McCarrick, and
Okay.
he pushed Florissant. Said it was a great department. I grew up in Florissant, never had any issues with any of the officers. I had my pick between O'Fallon and Florissant, and I chose Florissant.
Great. Now, do you live in Florissant still, or do you live in O'Fallon?
I live in O'Fallon now.
Okay, all right, very good. And Officer McCarrick was interviewed on the show after he started here too. So I don't know if he told you that.
Nope.
He didn't, but yeah, he was on the show as well. So I introduced him on the show, and he did the same thing you guys are doing now.
Okay.
So that's great. And then what kind of a career path do you foresee for?
At first I wanted to do K-9, but
Okay.
for Florissant you have to be a residency. So I'm looking towards like drug, and
Okay.
DEA, stuff like
Gotcha.
that.
All right. Officer LeMaster, anything you wish to accomplish while you're here with the Florissant Police Department?
I'd hope to be in the Bureau of Investigations someday,
Okay.
work my way toward that, and hopefully toward a leadership role later on as well.
Very good. Any other anything else you want to add to let the citizens know about yourselves or anything like that?
So far I've had nothing but positive experiences, and I love working here. It's
Great.
pretty awesome.
Great. And then I think both of you guys are still on field training, right? So you're
Yes.
getting ready to be
I'm
done.
almost done.
He's almost done. He's got a big smile on his face.
Yeah, lucky.
Yeah. So he's got a big smile on his face. You just started
Yeah,
not long ago, so you've
yeah.
got a little ways to go.
I got like 3.5 more months
good.
ish.
Well, it'll fly by. Ask this
Yeah,
guy.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
hoping.
well, just get that experience while you can, while you have that experienced officer in your car. That's for sure. So, well, if you see Officer Pham or Officer LeMaster out on the streets, stop them and let them know you saw them on the show, and welcome them to the city. We'll be right back after these messages.
When friends don't stop friends from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is Chaplain McGee, one of our Florissant Police Department chaplains. Chaplain, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Chaplain Kevin Llewellyn McGee. I go by K. Llewellyn.
Okay.
And recently just retired from the Army.
Okay.
And retired in February of
Congratulations.
2015. Thank you. After 31 years of service. So I have served in the Army. I've served in the Army National Guard, worked in Jeff City for many years, and also the Air Force, active duty. And so the time of the military was about 31 years of service, 22 as a chaplain.
Okay.
And so now I want to just volunteer my time, and there's no better place in the world to volunteer my time is with the Florissant Police Department and other not-for-profits that I currently serve.
Great, great. Well, we appreciate that. How did you become involved with the Florissant Police Department?
Well, someone who, Dr. Theo Triplett, who lives in the Florissant area, was asking me, was I interested in providing some time with my expertise to help out the Florissant Police Department, and he introduced me to Chief Lowry.
Okay.
And after going through a pretty in-depth interview, asked me would I consider doing it, and obviously I said yes.
Sure, sure.
And really have been loving the time that I've had with the Florissant Police Department. The chaplains elected me the lead chaplain for the Florissant Police Department, and so now it's time, because I've retired, to really work on what can we do to better help the officers, administrative staff, and the community in providing chaplain services to them.
Great, great. Yeah, just explain a little bit more about what our chaplain program is about and what you've experienced so far as a police department chaplain.
Well, the chaplain program with the Florissant Police Department is one that really we're trying to be there for the officers first of all. Okay. And so currently we've had a number of officers do ride-alongs. I'm sure you've seen the movie Ride-Along, but we ride along and try to develop a rapport with the different officers and administrative staff. It also includes the mayor may have community events that he would do, and he would talk to Chief Lowry about utilizing me or one of the other chaplains to do so, and so we would also do that. The Florissant parade, Veterans Day parade that they have. So I participated with that and rolled along with Officer Summers. And then thirdly, many times people in the community may need a chaplain. They may not know where to turn. They may be going through a traumatic experience, and so we're available, but most people do not know that we are available for our Florissant community.
Right, right. And that's one of the reasons why we've got you on today, to kind of explain that and let people know that you're available to help them as well, not just the police department.
Exactly. And so I guess the more we can do to help in getting that information out, the better utilized we would be.
Great.
And then the need of giving care to the community, obviously we could grow, and hopefully it would be a model for other police departments in the St. Louis area and maybe across the country.
Absolutely. Anything that you'd like to accomplish in the future? I know you've already done a lot, and we appreciate that. Anything in the future that you've thought about possibly taking on?
The main thing, I have almost 23 years of service as a chaplain. I'm an ordained United Methodist minister, but I have developed over my time of being a chaplain a method, if you will, a system to training chaplains. Again, it could be lay or clerk, but people call themselves chaplains, to provide a systematic care to people who they provide care to.
Okay.
And so my hope is to take this training, train as many people who would like to be chaplains that I can, and develop what they call in the healthcare field a standard of care. Like you guys have a standard as being officers, police officers.
Sure.
And I know we recently gone through the CALEA accreditation.
Right.
They have standards by which you provide law enforcement. That's the same thing that if people can applies for a chaplain. Many times people say, I want to be a chaplain, but they haven't had any training to do so. And over my 23 years, I've developed training for that with a not-for-profit called the Pneuma Center or the Spirit Center. And part of what we do is train people to give that care, go through the training and give that care. And then beyond that is to just see people put it into practice. Sometimes many people would ask the simple question, what is a chaplain? And I like to state that a chaplain is not a pastor is not a chaplain. Chaplains take care of those people who, in my case, as a military chaplain, all those who may be in my particular unit, regardless of their religion, regardless of their denomination, to include people who may be agnostic or atheists. We have to care for them. And so I know when I came in some 23 years ago, the question I asked when I became a chaplain was, what is it that chaplains do? And although there were people around me who were chaplains, they could not explain that simple question to me. And so I have been researching, I have been trying to come up with my own definitions.
Job description.
A job description, if you will, of what a chaplain do in order to develop the training. I have 2 masters, one in counseling, but emphasis, a specialization in marriage, family, and child therapy from Webster University. I have a doctorate in pastoral care and counseling. I have got trained as a registered EMT, so I have physical health training that I got while I was in Iraq, in Balad, Iraq, to go through the training there. What I was trying to do, and I talked to Lieutenant Peters today before coming over here, and he had grasped so well the concept, obviously, that he had thought about of what chaplains do, and he said it this way, and I've used it many years ago, but he just brought it to mind, so I'm going to use it today. So I stole it from him for this event.
Dave, there you go.
He said, think about that people are like a 3-legged stool. He said, if any portion of that, one of those legs are missing, then your life is going to be out of balance. You have to have the physical, you have to have the mental, and you have to have the spiritual. And many people don't want to talk about the spiritual aspect. They're a little bit better in talking about the mental aspect, and especially with everything going on now, mental health crises that are going on with people. And then it's obvious with the physical, you need that. And so I think that's a great example about having those 3 legs of the stool, if you will, in one's life, and having balance in order to have a healthy life. One connects to the other, and all are needed. So the training that I've developed, again, some years ago, really build on that and have research behind that, and to help them understand that and know that it is needed. And so in summary of all of the training, because we want to recruit people to be chaplains, number one, but also train them to meet this standard of care, but they have to know, everybody has to know that everybody needs it. And the misconception is people think spiritual, the word spiritual means religion. Not necessarily. The word spirit is the only concept that is in every religion and culture in the world. The concept of spirit means to breathe. It means to live. And so when you talk about your breath, and some people would say your breath of life, that which causes you to animate, to live, that's really, you're talking about spiritual health care. Is a term I coined many years ago. And so it means, how do I improve one's quality of life? And so the things, your belief system, what you believe in, what is right, what's wrong, your value systems, your relatedness, how you relate to people, your character, that's another way to look at it. That's stuff that can be done without impinging on one's religion or denomination.
It's just an overall
spiritual concept of that. And so if people can start dealing with that and knowing that we who are chaplains provide spiritual health care, and we are trained like a medical doctor is trained in physical health care, or nurses are trained in physical health care, or just like mental health providers or therapists are trained, we should be trained as chaplains to do exactly that, provide for their spiritual health care, to help them wrestle with many issues of life, and help them go forward and live that life, that having a great quality of life, if you will.
Right. Hey, and that's we appreciate that, and we look forward to you providing that assistance to us for a long time to coming. So now that you're retired, we look forward to you coming out and riding with us and offering us as well as the residents that spiritual connection that you're talking about.
No problem. I love it.
Anything else you want to add before we close this segment up?
Well, in general, I want everybody to understand the availability of us who are chaplains.
Okay.
And especially, I just say me at this point, and then we'll recruit those. But I want you to understand that everybody have a spiritual life, and you, whether you realize it or not, need a chaplain to help in aspects of one's life, and that's what I'm here for. I know we have over some 50,000 residents,
Right.
which means that if everybody knew what we did, we would have to do a lot of recruiting in order to meet the needs. But do not think of it as, well, I don't go to a particular church. I don't believe in going to church. That's not what chaplains do. We talk about your spiritual health and making sure that you are okay. And we do that in different ways, but ultimately we really want to make sure that you have good, healthy well-being, and that's the simplest way that I can put it. But think about it. If you want to reduce your stress in one's life, in one aspect that's not being addressed, if someone was preparing to die, which we don't like to talk about death, or talk about reducing stress by dealing with our own ending of life, what would we do? An example would be, I had some of the students that I've trained over the years do what they call their funeral program, their eulogy.
Okay.
So you would write a bio, if you will, a eulogy of yourself. How many people have done this? Where you were born, having this document placed, and give where you want, who's going to do your funeral, most people don't think about that.
Right.
What songs you want, what songs are valuable
Right.
to you. Well, you wouldn't know that, and when you're gone, you're dead.
Right.
If
Somebody
you
else
haven't
has
picked-
to.
Somebody has to do
assume
that.
you know.
Assume
Right.
that you know, and talk about your life. So if you would have to prepare for your death and use this document to do so, how would you do it?
Right.
And most people are not prepared to do that, or do things like get an insurance policy, or even have a will. As simple
Right.
as that,
Right.
to know how important a will is. And that part of spiritual health care is some of what we do. And so as an example, Rabbi Shook, who's over the chaplains of the St. Louis City, and he is having me come in because one of my specialties is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
And so he's having me come in and talk about how we as chaplains could train and care for people who deal with traumatic events.
Maybe
Police
not
officers.
just officers, but people that
Anyone.
Anyone.
Right. So we're doing this training in January, and so I appreciate him, just like appreciate you guys allowing me to talk about what I do,
Great.
and to the community at large, and hopefully we can have people who are better trained, chaplains who are better trained, who provide this care to the community.
Great. Well, I just want to thank you for your service with the military, and
Thank you.
congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for your service with the Florissant Police Department
Thank
as
you.
well. So, and thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it, and hopefully we get the word out there to everybody of what the program's about, and
Yes.
we can get some people some support.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll be right back with the October crime statistics.
God, you're so funny! I want to have unprotected sex and contracted STDs.
I want to lose complete control and beat my girlfriend.
I want to get loaded and have a beer.
I want to wake up with a hangover and not know where I am.
Alcohol, is it worth it?
Welcome back to the show. We're now going to review the October crime statistics. There was one homicide in the month of October. It is reported as follows. On 10/13/2015 in the 1000 block of Jackson. There were 5 robberies in the month of October, and they are reported as follows. On October 7th, in the 400 block of North Highway 67. On October 12th, in the 700 block of North Highway 67. On October 14th, in the 1600 block of Saddle Spur. October 25th, in the 800 block of North Highway 67. And October 29th, at 20 Melanphy Gardens. There were 7 burglaries in the month of October, and they're reported as follows. On October 2nd, in the 2800 block of North Highway 67. On October 6th, in the 1000 block of Grandview Gardens Court. October 6th, in the 1000 block of Derhacky. On October 10th, in the 800 block of Rosetta. On October 17th, in the 1500 block of Zurich. On October 20th, in the 200 block of St. Maurice. And on October 26th, in the 100 block of St. Diana. There were 14 motor vehicle thefts in the month of October, and they were reported as follows. On October 4th, in the 1500 block of Summer Run. On October 5th, in the 1100 block of Shackelford. On October 7th, in the 1700 block of Patterson. On October 12th, in the 600 block of Weedhop. On October 13th, in the 1800 block of North Highway 67. On October 14th, in the 1000 block of Estes. On October 15th, in the 300 block of Jana. On October 17th, in the 1500 block of Miller. On October 17th, in the 1500 block of Vesper. On October 18th, at number 15 Florissant Oaks. On October 21st, in the 3100 block of Carefree. On October 24th, in the 700 block of Sherwood. On October 26th, in the 800 block of Southwell. And on October 27th, in the 800 block of Loyola. There were 91 stealings in the month of October. They are broken down into the following categories. There were 38 shopliftings, 13 stealings from a motor vehicle, 8 stealings of motor vehicle parts, 2 bicycle thefts, 17 stealings from a building, and 13 classified as all others. There were 20 property damages in the month of October. There are a few things that I wanted to go over before the end of the show. One thing is that we've been experiencing a increased amount of motor vehicle thefts, usually during the winter months for people warming up cars. So please just be aware of when you're warming up a car, please do not leave it unattended while it's warming up. Stay with that vehicle and try and help us prevent motor vehicle thefts this winter. Also, one thing that we wanted to make sure that everybody knows is that we've been having a lot of problems with old cellular phones being played with by children. While some parents think that this is a good idea and that the kids are really into the cell phones, we just ask that you please remove the battery from those old cellular phones. We've been having an issue with those old phones dialing 911 accidentally. A lot of people don't know that even though the phone may not be activated with a service provider, that phone will still dial 911 for emergency purposes. So if you're going to let your children play with the phone, please take that battery out before giving it to the kids to play with, because it will still dial 911, and it ties up our dedicated 911 lines, and we want to keep those lines open for emergencies. So your help in that would be much appreciated by the police department. We have a CERT class, Community Emergency Response Team class, starting February 17th It's every Wednesday night for 8 weeks. With that class, you'll be instructed on how to be prepared for some natural disasters and other emergencies that could possibly arise here in the city of Florissant. You'll be able to be trained on how to help first responders and assist us in handling that natural disaster. So if you're interested in that class, please notify me. All my contact information will be at the end of the show. And you can also go online and register for the class at www.florissantmo.com. In the Action Center, you'll find the application. One last thing is we are in the process of updating our Neighborhood Watch roster for the city. If you are a Neighborhood Watch member and you have not registered in 2015, we would ask you to please go online and re-register. You can also do that on the Florissant's webpage in that Action Center that I spoke of earlier. There's also registration forms at the police department that you can pick up and fill out, or there's also a PDF version of the registration form you can download and deliver to the police department as well. If you're not currently a member, we encourage you to become a member of Neighborhood Watch and help our city stay safe and report crime that's in your neighborhood to us so we can help you stay safe as much as possible. Please remember, if you need to report an emergency, please dial 911. If it is not an emergency, you can reach the police department at 314-831-7000. We also have more information on our website, www.florissantmo.com/police. And I'd also like to invite you to like our Florissant Facebook page. It's under, if you search Florissant Police Department, you will find our Facebook page. You can like it there. And please follow us on Twitter at Florissant PD. And don't forget that Eddie the Florissant Police Dog has his own Facebook page. If you search for Eddie the Florissant Police Dog, you will find him there. If you like his page, you will stay updated on all of his things that he's been doing around the city. Well, that's it for this edition of FPD Roll Call. Please join us for the next episode, and we'll see you then.